We're all ready. We're all excited. It is Monday, and I love Mondays. A lot of people don't like them, but I do. Good morning, everyone. This is Carroll-Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live from a pickleball court, but I'm actually in the car right now, just to keep things a little bit more quieter, because sometimes the train goes by. But good morning, everyone. This is Carroll-Sue again with
TwoSistas. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janis, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, Mindset Monday. And it was my first day back after a back injury to kickboxing. And I will just say that considering I had to kind of tailor it back a little bit, I did quite well. So always good when my feet hit that red mat. There's something very magical about that. Oh, it was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm about to get into a pickleball game. I haven't played in a few weeks because it's been, grind at the computer and grinding and everything that I'm passionate about. So today, John pushed me and said, no, take some time off. You got to get back into the game. So that's what I'm doing this morning. I'm super excited. Had a very festive weekend, coming off of a festive weekend of Christmas parties, Christmas cheer, football, and a glorious sunset boat cruise that was just amazing, with a bunch of passionate people. It's so good to hang around with people that are all about vitality, very much into health and wellness of all aspects, and really just enjoying each other's company, collaborating, and just getting into that holiday spirit, which, as I said before, should be just in a spray bottle, so you get to spray it every time people come across you that just aren't feeling that good, those good vibes or that good feeling. So Monday mindset, it's one of those days where sometimes you just have to push yourself through the week. Sometimes we do our best to be organized, setting out and mapping out our week. And there are other times that you actually need a little push. So today, I got to admit, I needed a little push. I contemplated about going. I'm like, well, I could be doing A, B, or C. And he said, no. You got to practice what you preach. So you love the game, get back at it. You've been away from it way too long. So that is what I'm doing. But what are you doing to kick off? Obviously, you just got back to kickboxing. And, we're asking all of our viewers and our listeners, what are you doing to kickstart your week? And it takes that mindset to not quit, to push through, even though you may be hesitant, may have fallen off the wagon, maybe just not feeling it. Just take that first step forward, and it does wonders, I might add, for your mindset.
It absolutely does. And when you get to that point where your body is ready to go back, I was kind of contemplating it over the weekend, and I'm like, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to go. I can tailor it back. Let me tell you, my head was in the game, ready to kick the crap out of that bag, but I knew I had to hold back. Knowing that, I have a lot of osteoarthritis in that hip, which is in the lower back area where I usually have the issues. So I was very, very mindful of that. But, I actually woke up probably about 10, 15 minutes before my alarm actually, went off. And Gary was a little bit awake, so he ended up getting up for a few minutes. He's like, oh, why don't you come back to bed? And I was already dressed to go to kickboxing. Did the thought cross my mind? Oh, yeah, because it's raining. Yeah, I'd like to get back in bed and I said I could probably sleep another 3 or 4 hours. No lie. But my heart I knew I needed to be there for me. And that's such a great feeling to triumph. I know tomorrow's Triumph Tuesday, but to triumph over that, those. And what I want to point out to everybody, I am no expert in this. I'm just sharing where I'm coming from, but I can tell you that from experience, just doing that and saying, as much as I wanted to get back in bed, I wanted to move forward, move past. And though that's a big step, stepping onto the mat, those are all big things. So whatever you have in your life that you're trying to set your mindset straight, kind of get into a new rhythm of things, those little steps to get you to where you wanted to be are really critical. So it's about the momentum. It's not how fast I can punch or how hard I can kick the bag. And, in my respectable age bracket, I'm kickboxing with women that are a lot younger than myself. I do pretty damn good for my age. So I'm very proud of myself.
Well, that's awesome. And that being proudful moment is obviously one of the things that we talk about. You take all those triumphs and all those things that you accomplished and you add them up at the end of the week on Friday. And that's where you really celebrate all these little different goals and stepping stones, because they are so important to remember that you celebrate as they go on, and put them in your back pocket and make sure you're making note of them so you can pat yourself on the back on Friday and say, I did good. I had some reservations here or there, but you know what? Flipping the story a little bit about, Mindset and Monday, as many of you know, and we've been continually sharing the journey of what is going on in this particular district in Massachusetts. We've been really, I think, pretty on point with sharing the concerns of parents, the caregivers, the grandparents, the stakeholders, the taxpayers, of the roadblocks that they have really been presented with. And while I have to say we've done we've done an excellent job, there comes a point where you have to take it to the next level. And isn't that true in any health and wellness and or journey, whether it has to do with our health and wellness, whether it has to do with a project, a personal life? At one point you reach that point where you I don't want to say it's a roadblock, but it's like kind of like a wake up. Okay, we've been successful with little aspects of here and there, but now we need a bigger push. And what is occurring is that all these little things are adding up to the point where now, I hate to use the word lawyer up because it's kind of to me, it's a cliche type of a phrase. But when the resistance is that, we can't do that because our lawyer says so. We can't discuss that, or we're not obligated to, or, now they skirt around the issues to try to slap on some heavy duty fees for public records requests that are not reasonable by any means. And then, you decide, what, do we go forward? And knowing a lot of people say, well, geez, that could be an uphill battle. Well, if we had the mindset that had a piece of defeatist attitude to say, well, it's too big. It's too big of a hurdle. It's too big of a climb. Think of where the world would be today. I mean, you look at all those monumental people over history that were against surmountable odds, had a road to climb, but said, what, despite the noise, despite the interference or the negative vibes that we really shouldn't do that, you can't do it, or even if you attempt it, will you be successful? They were the pioneers, and I can think of so many in my head. And that is the driving force of what I do. And I've gotten resistance. We are in the middle of a campaign fundraiser to raise the necessary funds that we need for legal counsel, because that's the point that we're at. We're being challenged in a lot of ways. And it's also a mindful piece to have that good mindset to really understand, do I have the ability, the knowledge, the education to fight some of these things that I'm not quite sure on, that I know could be legally challenged, but am I the best person, or is a group the best person? Because that's not our expertise. At some time within your health journey, whatever goal you're going at, whatever cause you're fighting, you get to a pivotal point where you say, what, I do need help. This is out of my purview, since that seems to be the cliche line, under my purview, not my purview, over my purview. And you understand that, what, we did a good job as a group thus far, but we need a bigger voice that understands the legality piece to a lot of this stuff. So we made that decision. Now for some, it's a matter of, interesting enough, two pieces came to mind over the last 24 hours. Obviously, I'm messaging people to help donate. And when we say donate, we're not asking for thousands. I mean, yes, obviously any donation, if a person wants to donate $1,000, woo-hoo, we'll be forever grateful. That's not what we're asking. We're asking, for a minimum donation of $10. When I look at people buying a bottle of wine, they spend a lot more money on a bottle of wine, or even going to the movies. So we're not asking for astronomical amounts, because all those little amounts of everyone chipping in chips away at where we need to go. But 2 comments came to mind. One comment, I messaged a friend that I've supported over the years, with her line of work. I always try to do business with people that have small businesses, hairdressers, MLMs, entrepreneurs, because, small boutiques, because they're the pioneers of what, capitalism and, really being your own boss is all about. So I, have been messaging people. I in particular messaged this one person, and the response was, I'm not informed on either piece, or on either side to make a donation. And I thought to myself, because we did a really excellent job in explaining within the fundraiser campaign, you give a list of kind of the journey, which was very, very well documented. And it wasn't the fact that the donation would not come from this person, because I know some people just don't. And we don't get indignant. We don't get insulted over that. We do our best to, really educate the masses. But it was the reasoning why, that she was not educated on either side. And I thought to myself, have you not seen what's going on in Virginia with the Virginia parents? Do you not see what's going on in our world, within our schools? It's in the news everywhere. Not only is it in the news, and I know a lot of people tune out the news, it is definitely on social media everywhere. And I thought to myself, as a grandparent, the buck doesn't stop just with the parents. The buck stops not just with the grandparents. The buck stops with any citizen, regardless of whether you're in the district or not, because what is going on in this particular district is going on in many districts in this particular state: Worcester, Millbury, Newton, Wellesley, a whole slew of them. So to not be educated on either side, for all intents and purposes, I thought was, it was one of those responses where I would have been just better just to ignore it and not answer my request to help out. Because from my perspective, I thought, wow, and this is a person that's actively involved, with her family. And I thought, wow, I was just surprised on that. Again, did not get indignant, didn't get mad. All I did was encourage her. Hey, maybe you should get involved. Maybe you should at least get informed, because it is important to be informed, because when you are handing that child over to an education system, you want to damn make sure you know what your child is being indoctrinated into, what they're being educated on. And, do you have people sitting at the table that is supposed to be there to represent the children? And are they doing the best interest of the majority of what the majority wants within a school district? Meaning proper curriculum, making sure there's not pornographic literature in a library for children that really should not be seeing that garbage. In addition to fighting for the district, we are up against some challenges with a liberal state. But even though, and this is the key piece to it, even though, like, fighting the state, which is the bigger piece to this, even though you go there with the right mindset and with all the tools in your tool chest from a legality standpoint, and you come up against roadblocks, the point being is you're showing that your constituents that you're willing to fight for them, that you're not going to accept it, that you're going to do everything within your power to protect your district. And that is what is not being done. And those, like I said, this has been a journey of now over 7 months. And, we are not stopping. If we got to take those baby steps, we take them, but we are going forward. And we encourage everyone. I did put the link on our TwoSistas page. I am going to be blogging about it as well on our website, but it is powerful because it's not just the district. This also is going to impact housing, the value of houses. It's going to impact whether people want to actually relocate to a certain town, because one of the first things that they do is look for the school system. They look, what does the community have to offer? Does it align with my values, my family values? And it is, and now all that stuff trickles down into the success of businesses. It trickles down to places of worship for donation. So this is a bigger picture, and I'm really surprised because this person's usually pretty informed. So I wasn't taken aback by it, but I was really surprised. I did encourage her to get educated, and I hope she does. But again, when we talk about donations, we want to meet the needs of other people. Some people can donate $100, $500, $600, $20. So what we say, when we say we mean that, no donation is too small, because the more it's spread out, the less taxing it is on any one individual. And that is why we chose to do it that way, is we want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, and they do have a place to donate, to contribute, and not to think that, oh, I can only afford $10. That is okay. And that's kind of the message that we're getting out. I'm hoping to have one of the parents on this week. Hopefully tomorrow. I got to check with her schedule to see, to share from her perspective of why she decided to jump on board with this. And it's very important. Again, going back to the district, it's not just a district issue. These are the future leaders of our country. These are future doctors, lawyers, politicians, nurses, caregivers, people that may go into being a counselor, maybe somebody that wants to go into, priesthood, nurses, police officers, lawyers, grocery clerks, managers. These are the future generation that are going to be determining Social Security and all these other things. And don't we want them educated with the simple values of the family values of any one community? And that sadly is not being done. And we are very accurate to say it is not the majority, because there are one or two on this particular school committee that does fight for the family. But at one point, when you see the vote constantly going 6-1, 5-2, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 5-2, you have to change the setting at the table, because they're not meeting the needs of the majority. And that is what we're looking to change, because once you change that aspect, all the other things that need to be addressed within an administration, they can be addressed, because the proper chain of command is that the school committee has oversight over the elected body has oversight over the actual administration. So yes, we are putting out a plea to you. If you're a child advocate and I'm not part of that district, but you know what? I can donate $20. Think about what you spend on a bottle of wine. Think about what you spend on frivolous things that don't have any real meaning and or impact. And we are in the season of giving. This is no better time to give to a cause like this to help the children, because it's the adults' fight, but it's about their future. So we really hope that people will get excited and help us out.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And, I think it's so important, not from a standpoint of, what's the word I'm trying to use? Education, as well as educating ourselves on different matters, is so important on so many different levels. And what better way to kind of learn more about doing more? And it's not the amount, it's the act of creating that ripple effect. And, thank you so much for sharing your passion on that. And excuse me, also, like you said, we'll make sure that it gets up on our website. You're going to do a blog about that. So many great things happening, and so many things that happen newsworthy this past weekend. So what I heard yesterday, or over the course of the weekend, I should say, is everybody knows that I am no fan of Chris Cuomo. And I'm sure many of us know that he's been fired from CNN. I'm not sad about that, but I had some
Wait a minute. I didn't think he was fired.
Yes, he was.
Oh, I thought he was on a leave of.
They just fired him.
Because somebody had mentioned, just to interject 2 seconds on that, someone told me he was coming back in January from this, suspension, and I was really quite surprised. So this is breaking news for me. I did not hear that. Wow.
Yeah, he was fired. He was let go. I believe it was Saturday evening, if I am not mistaken. And from, I guess, some sexual harassment claims have now come to light against Chris Cuomo. Again, I am no fan of Chris Cuomo, but under the laws, we are presumed innocent until otherwise proven otherwise. And of course, those women who are alleging those different sexual harassments, they have a right to be heard. Is it hard for me to say that? No, absolutely not. That's what our country was based on, the presumption of being charged with something or being let go from something, and then having to go through that process, because I know it's going to be quite the process. It's going to be pretty much all over the different news media sources. The Cuomos have not had such a great year. I'm wondering too, if at some point, the former Governor Cuomo was given an Emmy Award for his handling of, the pandemic. And I'm wondering what's going to happen with that. So many things going on newsworthy. So I wanted to mention that. Excuse me. The other thing, and I believe it was yesterday that I received the news alert, so I did some digging. A Norwegian cruise line. Did you hear that one?
No, I literally have not. It was such a festive weekend. I was totally snoozed on any alert, and I snoozed on news for sure. So I'm getting the all the breaking news right from my sissy. I love this.
So the other breaking news with the Norwegian cruise line, as many of us know, cruise lines just across the board, everyone has to be vaccinated. You have to show your card. And it was a cruise line, Norwegian cruise line out of, I believe it was Louisiana, and they went to several different ports. They're on their way back to Louisiana. They had a huge breakout of COVID-19.
How could that be? They were vaccinated.
Well, the COVID-19 doesn't know if you're vaccinated or not. So I find, and first of all, I am not laughing at or poking fun at the people who have, that's not what I'm getting at. The point that I am trying to get at, and maybe I'm going about it in a roundabout way, is, we're supposed to follow science. Yeah. So why is that happening? That's my question. Why is that happening?
Well, I believe, in all honesty, I think people, and this is my perception, I think for some, when they received whatever dose they received, were under the impression that it did prevent it, but they have stated all along, it doesn't prevent you from getting it. It lessens the side effects or what occurs. And I think there's a little myth with that, because even with Dan Bongino, sadly, he received it. He's going through his own issues with chemo, whatever medical treatment he's being received for what he's going through. And it was recommended that he receive the vaccination, and he did. But he said, even being vaccinated, the symptoms were horrendous. So for him, it didn't lessen the symptoms. They were just as bad. And it wasn't until he did the fusion, and then he finally, within a few days, felt like amazing again. So I think some people have the notion that, if I'm more protected than someone that is not. And that is why there's all this kind of backlash of, you do it for everyone else, the good of all. But the fact remains that the truth has always been there, that it does not prevent you from getting the virus. It only supposedly lessens, but I think I think they're going to have to backtrack on a lot of that, because for some people it does, and for other people it's just as bad. So again, it's, I think it has to do with one's personal immune system. There's a lot of factors there. And I think, sadly, for those that were very proud to get the vaccine, and I'm not saying don't, that's, to me, I don't think there should be a proudful moment of getting a vaccine or not. The pride in that doesn't go in the same sentence in my mind. However, I think a lot of people just didn't quite understand, and we still don't understand, because how can it be that even if they still go on the premise that your symptoms are lowered, or are these people, did they have this false sense of security that they received this vaccine so that, it was never going to, they were never going to get it. But it does show you that, going back to the original statements, that it is supposed to aid in lessening the symptoms, but it does not guarantee you're not going to get the virus. And I think people are just a little confused over that still. I don't understand it, but people are confused.
Yeah, for sure. And, I just wonder, and unfortunately I heard, and this is kind of a side note to that, a friend of Gary's, his son, about Ryan's age as well, exact same thing, thankfully did not crack his skull like Ryan did, but is going through the same thing. And Gary initially didn't say anything, and then said, well, my stepson, and told him what was going on with that. So are those few and far between?
It might be, but that doctor that I talked to about Ryan's particular case is also saying that people have to, ask the questions when you're with your physician. This is a doctor, is an ER doctor in Boston. And what he said was, I don't know the exact verbiage, but it has to do with that some people, one of the side effects of the virus, unbeknownst to whether you even, because some people are asymptomatic, even with getting the vaccine, they're asymptomatic, that it's also one of the side effects of the residuals of the actual getting the virus, as well as it could be something related to getting the vaccine. So he said, you've got to ask those questions, because what is occurring, these young men are then all of a sudden, and it seems to be mostly men, I'm not saying young women, but the only cases I've heard so far are men, that now all of a sudden they're being diagnosed with seizures. And that is not the case. The seizures are actually or actually I should say they're being diagnosed with epilepsy. And that is not what it is. It's an epilepsy class side effect of the virus and/or vaccination, not that they truly suffer from epilepsy. That is a side effect. And so what's happening is a lot of patients are being diagnosed with that, going on that medication, but they're not understanding. It was an interesting take from this doctor, and I love, I love picking his brain about different things, but there are a lot of side effects that I don't think a lot of people are connecting the dots. I think one of the big ones that we noticed with so many people that we personally know that have received the vaccine is the balance issues. And it seems to be hitting elderly people in particular at an all-time high.
Yeah, and that's so sad. So a lot more research to be done, ask the questions. Whenever I'm in Philly, I make a list of questions that I have. Like, I'm not afraid to ask them, ask them, get answers, right. And, do some digging.
That's how you learn and educate yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, boy, we covered kind of a wide gamut today on Mindset Monday.
One other thing I want to add. Did I get that right, that I heard Bob Dole passed away?
Yes, he passed away.
Well, our prayers. 98 years old. God bless him.
God bless him.
What a man. So our hearts and prayers go out to the Dole family as well. I thought I caught that really quick this morning. Again, did not hear any of this news. That was the only piece that I saw real quick today. So, we send our condolences, and he was a great man.
He was a true patriot. And
Yes.
they showed a brief interview that he did with Chris. Oh God, the name escapes me. His father was a newscaster. But anyways, showed a brief synopsis of this interview Bob Dole did probably about 8-9 years ago. So he was about 90 at the time. And one of the questions that the news person asked was, what do you want your tombstone to say? And I just kind of paused for a moment, and that I was a veteran, because, Bob and his wife, so supportive, and
Yes.
he's very instrumental for veterans' rights and the different memorials that are, in Washington. So and I thought, that's a true patriot.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, he was a great soul, just an activist, and he just always had a pleasant way of speaking. I just enjoyed him, and so rest in peace, and condolences to the Dole family. And we were all 98 years old. Wow, amazing legacy he's leaving behind.
Absolutely. And on that note, Mindset Monday, I should say, go out and make it a great one. Maybe it's just something simple as saying hello to your neighbor as you're walking around the circle. Although I'm not sure that, no, I won't get into that right at the moment. Okay. That thought has passed. It's gone out.
Yeah,
Caught myself. And on that note, my name is Janis, aka Wellness Diva, and I'm with TwoSistas,
and this is Carroll-Sue, aka Naughty Bus Live, ready to get my pickleball on, get some movement going on. Whatever you're doing today, just take one step forward to whatever action is going to create and actually get you to that goal a little bit closer. Regarding the fundraiser I made, we will post the link to our fundraiser to help the children. Remember, it's our fight, it's their future, and where children are concerned, everyone should get on board with that. But with that, we wish you a great Monday mindset, and don't forget, tomorrow is Triumph Tuesday. We're going to talk about what we might have had to triumph over from today. You never know. Sometimes they run into each other. But anyways, you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.